All this has led to something which I like to call photography, as in faux, as in not authentic. The question is it? And if so, how much? If not, why not? It stages scenes that were authentic and spontaneous and arranges the setting and moves the objects to present them as naturally occurring. But the photographer is now the gatekeeper. He can digitally manipulate the images that he's taken. He can apply text or false or misleading stuff. He can transform it by shaping the context as well as the image. And here's where we come to the basic question of intent versus content. What is there and what is not there? Again, I remind you, this is not new. Lenin and the communists did the same thing when they wanted to remove somebody from a picture. I showed you these earlier, and did so. And perhaps our greatest perpetrator of that was Stalin himself, who gradually decreased all the people in power around him till he stood alone, both in real life and symbolically in photographs. Mussolini, owing his heroic pose, edited out the man who was steadying the horse so that he would look more monumental. But that's been something that has always been there in photography. In the 50s, Kodak issued these little manuals on here's how you can manipulate and shape images. And now there's a whole there was a popular magazine. I don't think this exists anymore. But anyway, the point is it was at one time at the end of the century. It's been used in politics. Oh, it's a great tool in politics. The right used it in John Kerry's campaign for president when they put him together with Jane Fonda in this image. Actually, it was taken from two separate images, digitally combined. And of course, this is not a tool of just the right wing too. The left wing did the same thing with Sarah Palin. Commercially, they do it all the time in the entertainment industry. In order to give Oprah Winfrey a nice body, they took Anne Margaret's body and toned it, changed the skin tone, and did a little trick work. You see it every day. It may not be obvious to you, but you see it every day. In fashion, in celebrity. The application of that image and how it can be transformed. Take a few pounds off. Not a problem. But it even has more impact in the news. The shelling of Lebanon at the turn of the century. When AP took this picture, the photographer issued it this way, adding another column of darkness and destruction and burning in the city. Well, that was straight up manipulation. When Reuters found out about it, they issued a kill order on it. Don't use this picture, it's a fake. By that time, of course, it was out in the world, too. It was first examined and seen and exposed by an organization called Little Green Footballs. So Little Green Footballs celebrated by bombing the city. And from there, of course, our same satirists took over again, too. Godzilla did the same thing to Lebanon. So did the Starship Enterprise. Oh, where'd they come from again? Wait a minute. Yeah, he's everywhere. But it happens on a daily basis. This is a U.S. news cover, a straightforward image of battle. An earlier sequence of the photograph showed the same man posed with the city burning. He pops up later on in a different news photograph entirely. Check this out. You see it reflected too in the daily news. Can we fix that in Photoshop? The big question. You see it with the coverage of how things are shown and maybe even how things are not shown. A protest years ago, California. A straightforward image, very dramatic. Out of context, makes a good statement. People of color saying no to war. Then the photographer started backing up Showed us more context of what was there, more things about what the parade is saying, more signage, third world youth against war. Well, they didn't tell us that in the earlier picture. They keep backing up and show that it's being conducted and led by a certain person in a t-shirt. And that certain person is wearing a North Vietnamese t-shirt. So this now becomes a representation of a communist protest. How does that shape the content of the imagery? You have to consider where that picture is taken and all the facts about it. It's even in official government work too. The Iranian missile tests. This was one of their missile tests. Very dramatic photograph, but it wasn't dramatic enough for them, so they added another missile. And of course the similar column of dust kicked up in the bottom. If you look at it closely, you can see where images are repeated, shapes are repeated. Well, when you have such obvious lies in your context, there's only one way to handle that, and that's to shoot back. So, the Photoshop tool palette for the creative freelancer. How to take a simple Photoshop tool and use it for all sorts of things. The eraser tool, good for handling evidence, for example. Or as Errol Morris once pointed out in a film about this whole thing, it was a weapon of mass distortion. The camera has become no longer a factual recorder of life. It can lie as well.